All right, guys, welcome to the November edition of the actually.
Are we recording?
And we're going to go ahead for time constraints tonight. We're going to start off. I'm going to hand it to ATY, our illustrious program manager, and has for tonight's introduction. Rob, you go ahead and take it away.
Okay, hey John, can you mute everybody? Is that possible?
Mute everybody. You'll have to unmute yourself again, Rob.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah, we've got two programs tonight. We're lucky. We've got two good programs tonight. That makes us doubly lucky. I've got my little notes here. Yeah, the first program is going to be on RaDAR, which is Rapid Deployment for Amateur Radio, and it'll be presented by Eddie Leighton. I hope that's right, Eddie. ZS6BNE. He's coming to us from South Africa, so it's a little later where he is than it is here. I don't think RaDAR is known a lot around Atlanta yet. Friend of mine told me about it, and it looked interesting. So I said, let's try and get the word out, and hopefully, people will get curious after tonight. I sent a video out yesterday just with a quick intro, and hopefully, if you saw that, you're ahead of the game. Otherwise, I'm sure Eddie's gonna, he's gonna tell you all that anyway. So yeah, without the second program is going to be the HOA program, antennas, HOAs, the ARRL, and what's happening with all that. There's a lot of controversy, and we're gonna get through it. So let me turn it over to Eddie. First, let me ask you, Eddie, what time is it over where you are? Make sure we have them. Oh, got to unmute Eddie or what? He's trying. He's trying. Yes. That's happened to all of us.
There he is.
Oh yeah, he's there. He's just trying to get the audio going.
Now I just unmuted again. There you go, Eddie.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
There you are. But welcome to the ARC. Welcome to Atlanta. And just how late is it where you are?
Okay, it's just after 1 o'clock in the morning.
All right, we'll try and not keep you up too long.
Okay.
Thanks for doing this. I'll just go ahead and just turn it right over to you. Eddie Leighton, ZS6BNE, talking about RaDAR, coming to us all the way from South Africa. Floor is yours, Eddie. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And thank you for the invite, and also for allowing me to share a little bit about RaDAR. I'll try and keep it very short. Let me start by saying that RaDAR has been going now for a little over a decade, but it's been refined this year, hopefully. During the QSA Today virtual expo earlier on in the year, I introduced some new ideas to RaDAR in the form of RaDAR Sport. Now, if we look at how RaDAR has been practiced the past couple of years, is that we had a 4-hour challenge 3 times a year that was participated internationally. but it was never really competitive. And I've been looking at things like SOTA and POTA that have become very popular. And what was the difference? And I think the difference is that you get chasers and you get activators, and people really can, it's almost like a competition where you get credit for the amount of summits that you activate and things like that. RaDAR is a little bit different, and I think in terms of finance, especially here in South Africa, if you look at the cost of driving around, very, very expensive. So to go to a summit, in my case, for example, I'd have to travel a couple of 100 kilometers. Whereas practicing RaDAR, I could just go on the other side of the fence and go and practice RaDAR. And now making it a little bit competitive, it might attract a little bit more interest. So what I've introduced this year is RaDAR Sport. And instead of the 4-hour challenge, I said, okay, well, let's make it 2 hours with very much the same rules as what RaDAR always was. Okay, now I've got to start thinking clearly, because I woke up about 15 minutes ago, and I've got to get my thoughts together now. Okay, so what I've done in the meantime is I developed an online logging program, which is central to the idea of RaDAR Sport. And I'm going to quickly demonstrate that, which might give a clearer view as to what it entails. The rules for RaDAR actually happens 3 times a year, and what I've done is I've brought the RaDAR Sport idea a little bit ahead. It would have only happened next year in April for the first time, because the RaDAR challenges take place 3 times a year, in April, July, and November. So I've brought the ideas a little bit forward. Otherwise, we have to wait a couple of months before we test the ideas. So really, Saturday is a test. Let me go and
Eddie, can I ask you a question before that?
Yes.
Can you go back to the beginning of RaDAR and just tell everybody what the concept is, just overall?
Okay. The concept of RaDAR is to RaDAR is really an acronym for Rapid Deployment Amateur Radio, where you take your equipment and you go into the field and deploy your station and make a certain amount of contacts and pack up again, move, redeploy, and make a few more contacts. Now, the rules we brought in there is we've got different categories, or this is how it was, where you might have a fixed station or a portable station or moving stations. RaDAR, the idea of RaDAR is really more with the moving stations, where the operator would move using a motorized vehicle, or on foot, or on bicycle, or using a canoe. And each of those movements have different distances that you have to move. For example, a motorized transport, you would have to move 6 kilometers. And after that 6 kilometers, you can deploy your station, make 5 contacts, pack up, and move to the next position. If you're on foot, then or using a canoe as well, then all you have to move is 1 kilometer, but it takes more or less the same time. And if you want to use a bicycle to move around with, then to be fair, we made that 2 kilometers. Now, I'd like to concentrate more on the RaDAR Sport idea, which is introduced earlier on this year. And I'm certainly going to be testing the RaDAR Sport idea on Saturday, where you deploy, or the whole challenge is only 2 hours, where the usual challenge is 4 hours. And quite a few American stations had an interest in doing 24 hours. So for the future, I've included the 24-hour challenge as well, but it's up to each individual to make his own choice. So let me, does that explain it, Rob?
Yes, thank
Clear
you.
enough?
Thank you. Yes, it does.
Okay. Rob, now see where you are, down in the bottom right-hand corner, second from, well, on my screen. Okay. Now I'm getting used to seeing who's where. And okay. But greetings to everybody there. I see some videos on, but obviously they must be listening. Okay, let me share the screen for the online logbook. I think I spoke to Greg in 4KGL a week ago, and so I've had a little bit of practice with Zoom. I was a little bit out of practice with it. The letters are so fine. I must just have a look here. Okay, share. That seems to be the right screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
See the online logbook?
Yes.
Okay. I think this, I don't know if something like this has ever been done before. Okay, yeah, see participants can now see your application or screen that disappeared now. I don't think something like this has ever been done before, so I think it's quite unique. I could be wrong, but this logbook is actually everybody's logbook, and I call it the online community logbook. It has been tested by many of the CW guys here in ZS for a couple of weeks now, and I've been developing this system for a couple of weeks as well, ironing out all the bugs. As any software developer would know, a program is never finished. So basically, everybody logs into online onto this logbook, and you can enter your logs here. And what is nice is once you've entered your log, all the participants can see exactly what you've entered, where you're working, what time, date, with who you made contact, and what extra criteria you've mentioned. And I think if you go directly to the entry system, you go to new log, and you get the dialogue which opens here, where it asks you for an update PIN. Now, what I've done here is I've developed my own security system just to prevent any abuse, a little fly flying around here, to the system. So each individual that participates in the online log would get his own PIN. And if you send me your call sign and your grid as well, if you want to, your default grid, then I can send you a PIN, a private identification number, so that you can use the logbook. Now that PIN is coupled to your call sign. Have a look at the first field there. If you enter your PIN, when you submit the log, your call sign will be entered into this field. And then you've got the normal station information where you've got your RST. Mostly it's 599. So I don't have very much value on RSTs unless proper RSTs are entered. And that's what I promote with RaDAR as well. Then the other call sign would be the other station that you're working, and any comments that you'd like to make concerning the QSO. So I've grouped this information, and then the QSO information is the date and the time in UTC. That is automatically entered but you can change it. Sometimes I've found the QSO might take a little bit longer, and then the automatically updated time here, so you can just update the time that you feel is most accurate. And what I've found is the best time to log is the time that you log off from the QSO. Then the frequency to the closest kilohertz, and of course the mode. So that's your QSO information. Now, instead of using the online system, you might use a logging program on your cell phone, for example. I suggest using paper because digital things can sometimes make things a little bit difficult and you use your information. But all those logging programs don't have radar fields. Now, this system is catering now for radar. If we have a look at the bottom grouping here, the category that has been introduced here is A, B, C, and D. So when you enter your log, and you must just make sure that you enter your category as well. And I've made the 24-hour category, the 4-hour standard radar challenge, the new radar sport challenge for 2 hours. And then we've also got, very much like SOTA and POTO, we've got a chaser category as well. Now, if we think in terms of the radar activator, as it were, the guy out in the field that's doing his 5 QSOs per deployment point, he would have to move after every 5 QSOs. But the chaser category, these are the guys that we really need, that would be listening out for the moving radar stations in the field. They can make as many contacts as they wish, and they are evaluated differently, which I'll get to a little bit later on. So you can choose any one of those categories, for example. Then your mode of transport, the fixed stations, well, you know, that would obviously be a chaser station, or the chaser station could also be a field station, or you could even be a moving station as well. It's totally his choice. But for radar activators or guys taking part in the moving challenges, then we've got different movements here. The field station, and if you're traveling using a car or bakkie or any other motorized transport, you choose car and bakkie, and the more physical ones are the bicycle, on foot, and canoe. Now, I'm talking about the physical ones. With the new radar challenge, then I've suggested that we don't use motorized transport at all. It's more a physical challenge, more sport-like challenge, where you can be on foot, in a canoe or on bicycle. If you're doing the 4-hour and 24-hour challenge, then obviously you could use the motorized transport as well. We've also said that if you're an aeronautical station, then very much like the chaser station, you're considered a moving station, but you can communicate at any time. Then, of course, very important with radar, this is the exchange that we really find important, is the operator's grid locator, but preferably more than 6 digits, and up to about 10 characters for the grid locator. And of course, the other station is going to give you a grid locator as well, and you enter that grid. So that would mean the full radar exchange that must be entered in the online logbook. And if I had a pin here, I would save the record, but I'm not going to save any record here. I'll just use existing ones as an example. These are the my CW buddies here in ZS that occasionally log on the online logbook. What we have done here is a lot of practice for radar style exchanges where the two QSOs, for example, here, you see the two wires there with the blue background. These two QSOs have been matched automatically by the online logbook. So this QSO here is considered to be a valid QSO. Here you can see my friend Mike, ZS6 MSW, is already using the categories here, which essentially I use later for reporting, which I'll show you now as well. And then the grids, you can see ZS5 Echo Lima is usually working from his bucky or his van, and he enters a grid locator where he was operating from. So these are radar style exchanges. If I page through, go back a couple of pages here. Go to the next page. I show basically 18 entries. So your load times are very, very fast. And here you can see a lot of the QSOs have been matched. We'll go back a little bit more where we tested the grids. Here you can see the guys were using online loggers to do an ADIF upload into the system. I have a facility for ADIF uploads, but of course the radar fields don't get filled because external login programs don't have those fields. So you come back and you just edit these fields and enter the radar information. Okay, I'm just going back some more now. Let's see. You can see we tested the grids a long time ago, but I want to show you that. That will give you a good idea as to, okay, there we are. Here you can see this was an excellent exchange of radar information where the QSO was confirmed and the grids here were confirmed with those wires there with the green background. So this would be classified as a proper radar exchange. So this is what we expect to see between operators doing the radar challenge on Saturday. So you enter your grid and you receive a grid, and if those grids are exchanged exactly correctly, then the online system will generate the mark here. So that's basically the online logbook. I've also written a facility for ADIF downloads. For example, if I go and search for my call sign, ZS6 BNE, it'll just show you all my strange. We said, yeah, it seems like the internet is pretty slow here. So let's just search for my call sign. Okay, that shows you all my entries. Then, for example, if I use the online system as a central logging system, and I want to do an ADIF download from here to import into qrz.com, for example, and I can do it, and I just say prepare for ADIF download, and it allows me to multi-select. Let's just take those records, and I say, okay, download the ADIF. And it just generates an ADIF file here for me. So I open that up, it's standard ADIF format, which can be imported into any other system. So we've got that facility as well. I'll close this file now. Okay, so we've seen the entries into the online logbook, which in my opinion is quite unique. I'll just reload here, that we get the latest entries again. if I go to the RaDAR Sport Evaluator, I've got another system I've written here that actually interrogates the online logbook. And I can just, for example, take the past day. I see it's already now the new day, November the 5th here in South Africa. And yeah, I see we're already almost half an hour. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go and show you. I'll do a report here, and I'll go, let's show the whole day. We started 0 and we started and we ended. And the second option here is the one that we use, and we don't check for grids there. And if I click on submit, then I can see, okay, well, these 3 stations here made QSOs for the day. And there we get a heading with the date and the times of the query. And if we go and look at the detail, we can have a look at submitted logs in the query as those, and the unique call signs that were involved, the final result in a table, and the bar chart. We go back here and we evaluated as far as category D, for example. That's my friend Mike that marked a few of his QSOs as category D. If I submit there, I get a report that Mike was active as a chaser, and these other stations were involved that day, and but Mike was the only chaser. So this is the evaluation system that you're going to be using on Saturday as well. If you're unable to access the online log, then do it at your earliest convenience, and yeah, we'll evaluate it online. So you don't have to send in a log. It can be evaluated at any time, even a week later. So being almost half an hour already, Rob, I'm going to hand it over to you there. I hope I've explained the new idea of RaDAR Sport well enough. And if you want to join in on Saturday and you don't have a PIN, well, send me an email and I'll send you a PIN and you have access to the logbook. After your first entry, then you'd know how to use the system. It's very, very easy, very quick to use.
And there's a lot of information for it on the net, right? So
great.
You can get it. Does anybody have any questions about RaDAR? Anyone? Okay.
Well, this is Arnold, KC4ZUA. I think this is a unique concept, the online community log. QRZ.com, their personal logs, and I don't think that like I can share mine with Rob. I could send him an ADIF file, but it's not an all-in-one view. So I think that's interesting.
Absolutely. It's open, and what is nice, it's very much like a virtual fun run, for example, and you've got your onlookers alongside the road, and they can all see who's in what position in the fun run. And that's RaDAR is basically very much like that, especially the RaDAR Sport idea. So it's like a virtual environment where we're not necessarily all together running on the same route. We're all running our own route, but we can see the results of each other. The RaDAR Sport takes place at 1400 hours anywhere in the world, local time. So we can see the USA guys taking part, and we can all see what's happening there. And as the world turns around and the sun shines on the next time zone, then we can see who's active there and who's winning the race. So it's really going to be quite a lot of fun. So if we all take part, then I think it's going to be quite exciting.
Well,
Can't find Rob
currently,
here.
currently my exposure, this is Arnold again, is through POTA, Parks on the Air. And my limited understanding is that they're doing, the evaluations for the awards you design, the Warthog and other things, manually, on demand by email. And I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but the idea of a evaluation module like you showed, certainly is an interesting concept. I personally, Saturday here is going to be a ham fest and some other things, or I guess you call them rallies, where hams get together and, swap and tell stories and that sort of thing. But I guess you also allow public views, like anyone who knows your URL can look over. Obviously can't contribute without a pin, right? So it's interesting. So yeah, I hope you'll send Rob the URL so that some of us can look in and see what's going on. But it is an interesting concept, especially the community log.
I've got a short write-up on the RaDAR rules. If you wanted to look quite quickly, if you use the URL ZS6 Bravo November Echo .wordpress.com, then the first entry that you'd see in the blog would be the RaDAR rules for the challenge. And within those rules, you'd find all the URLs to the online community logbook and also to the evaluator. And you can go around and you can play with the evaluator at any time. Anybody can do it. Even the audience watching the race on the go, as it were, they can all go and do their evaluations at any time.
Yes, that too is an interesting concept, that non-activators and non-chasers can still kind of do a scorecard right there, on their laptop or whatever. So that's interesting.
Arnold, we need to move on.
All right, sounds good, Rob.
Thank you. So sorry. Yeah, we need to move on before our ARRL guys give up on us. So Eddie, thank you. Thank you for the talk. And I think more people are going to learn about it in Atlanta, as a result of this.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you very much, Rob. And I'm going to go out now here. And thank you very much. It was good meeting you guys. And have fun.
Thanks, Eddie.
Hope to see you on the log. Okay.
73.
Cheers, guys.
That was good. That was good. All right. Well, second program is the I'll make this quick. Antenna zoning, HOAs, and what the ARRL is doing about it.